Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about projects I want to do in the future and where I see my writing career going. So, as you're watching this, I've just released my novelette, my serialised novelette, Hypochondria, which, if you don't know about it, is a literary body horror novelette that's centred around health anxiety and being anxious, basically, and feeling like your health is failing you. I did it as a serialized novella. It's all available for free on my website, sarahanu@wordpress.com. Please feel free to check it out. And as we're talking now, I've started my master's degree, and for my project, I'm doing creative practice. I'm focusing on writing and publishing, and for my big project, I'm doing a dual novella project based on the redundancy and the absolutely terrible year that I had in the last year. But I'm already thinking about the future and the projects I want to do. I have this notebook that is filled with more ideas than I'll ever be able to write. But what's really great about it is that whenever I need an idea for something, it's already here. So yeah, let's talk about my big ideas and what I want to be doing in the future. So obviously this is all going to be at least a year away from me even starting these, but I'm trying to get ahead of myself and get the main beats or the main plot points down in all of them. So a really big project that I've had sort of bubbling away in my brain for a little bit is a series of 5 gothic horror novellas that are unconnected narratives, but they're all inspired by gothic horror tropes, and they're set in different time periods and in different European cities. And I call this the syllabus of Gothic arts because they're all sort of centred around an art of some kind. And I'm really excited about this, but it didn't feel right to do this for my uni project. But I think this is going to be like a big thing that I focus on come 2027. I'm very excited about it. I've made up some little graphics for myself because I love Canva. So it's 5 books. I think they're probably going to be novellas. I'm hoping they're going to be slightly longer novellas because, as we all know, I am a chronic underwriter. But we'll see. So the first one is set in 1990 Vienna, and it's called A Murder of Viennese Crows, and it's set up around this dancer called Lieselot, I believe, who gets into a prestigious dance academy, and then she finds herself like trapped in this academy where everything's going wrong. People are disappearing, people are getting murdered. Very, very inspired by Black Swan and Suspiria and Dark Academia, which is really exciting. The second one is called the Celestine. So this one is set in Renaissance Italy. I don't know why I forgot the word Italy. It's set in Florence in 1450, so very much Renaissance, Medici time. And it's about this artist called Luca, who is a struggling artist, but then ends up with this patron who at first he thinks is going to save his life, and then he realises that this patron is incredibly dangerous and also obsessed with this woman that he gets Luca to paint over and over again. So we've got dance horror and art horror. Do you see where I'm going? And of course, one of the comps is the picture of Dorian Gray, because what else was it going to be? The third book is set in Munich in 1770, and it's all about like classical music and obsession, and it's called Sonata. So Phantom of the Opera vibes is what I'm going for. I thought this was the last one. Yes, I've put them in the wrong order for this, but the way I have it in an order in my head anyway. So this one is set in Prague in 1584, and it's a dark character study. So like some of the comps that I'd be using would be like Jekyll and Hyde and Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, which is an incredible book. And it's called The Haunting of John Dee, who was an Elizabethan astrologist and alchemist. And the reason I've included this book in this series, partly because not only does it go really well with this series, the idea and the mood boards and everything, but alchemy was actually known as the noble art at some point. So it seemed fitting to go in here. It's my series, I can do what I want. The last one is set in Edinburgh in 1878, and it's called Spilt Ink. And it's about this character called Ivy, who has had a troubled past and is one of the first women admitted to Edinburgh University, and finds herself in a sentient library, and inspired by Piranesi. So I have comps, I have tropes, I have outlines and everything. I just have to get around to writing these, but I don't see it happening in the next year, which is devastating, but we will get there. Another big fictional project that I really want to get done is the story that I call Equinox, which is a religious horror set in Mont Saint Michel. So one of the reasons I haven't written this yet is because I desperately want to go to Mont Saint Michel to get a feeling of the place, to do some research, kind of like a big field trip, really. But I want to talk about religious horror. I want it to be historical. I never thought I'd be a big historical writer, but I seem to be gravitating towards it, particularly at the minute. Very inspired by Midnight Mass, but I want to go a completely different route with it. But that is something that is really interesting me at the minute, and I'm really interested to research that one as well. I'm really excited about that one. My last big fictional project that I'm thinking of doing in the next few years is called Vita, and it's a story about Queen Victoria. And it sort of looks at that period of time in Queen Victoria's life where people around her started getting sick. So Prince Albert and her son Leopold and her grandchildren, and it's looking at the haemophilia and the illnesses that ravaged through her family, and but with a sort of supernatural element. I actually have written this story up. I wrote it initially I think it was about 8 years ago, but it was as a script, so I'm looking to turn it into a book one day. I don't know when I will get the chance to do that. My phone's going off. It will take quite a bit more work, I think, than just translating it from one format to another. But that is something that I really desperately want to do. A big non-fiction project I want to do as well is I'm obsessed with vampires. I love vampires, and I really want to do a non-fiction historical book about vampires, and how in film they relate to societal fears. I might save it if I do a PhD, but I desperately want to get that done. Some smaller things that I really want to do. I write film essays on Substack and Medium. If you didn't know that, I've written a few now. There's one based on the idea of franchises pantheon with the Marvel movies. I've got one about 28 Days Later. There was one about Until Dawn. I really enjoy doing those. I really love film analysis, and so I'm looking to make those into video essays at some point. I just haven't got around to it yet, and I've run out of time right now, so it's going to be a future project, but that's something I would really want to do in the future. And I also want to try stand up, but that's not really a writing project, that's just a project in general. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will hopefully see you soon. Thank you. Bye.